Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 36 of the Crafty Boys, where we drink beer and talk about Canadian man stuff. Normally, Shane would be the moderator of this podcast, but Shane is dying. So he's asked me to be the moderator today. So with us today, as always, we have Shane in Vancouver. Shane, wave hello, don't talk. We have Dave in Black Creek, or as we call Nowhere. Wave, Dave. Say hello.
You so funny.
Yeah. Missing is our regular guy, Locke, who is in Europe right now. And we have a special guest for this episode only. We have Mike Vardy calling in all the way from New York City.
Yes. Well, I am on an island, so technically, yeah, I'm in Manhattan. There you go.
Okay, Manhattan, and apparently he's a Bengals fan, judging from the football behind him. So welcome to episode number 36 of the Crafty Boys. It's a couple of days before Halloween, so we're having a special Halloween episode today. So the beer that we have selected is a pumpkin ale called Braineater from Bomber Brewing, based out of Vancouver. So I got this. Shane also got this beer. However, he's heavily medicated. So he says he's...
That's actually not entirely true because I've had the beer before a few times, but I couldn't find it. I even went to Bomber's tasting room, and I could only get the chocolate porter. So,
which I believe is what Dave got as well. So, and that's kind of fitting as well because with Halloween... You know, you go trick-or-treating, and what do you get when you go to the door? What do you get?
Chocolate.
You get chocolate, right? So I think that's fitting. So we've got the pumpkin ale.
I went pumpkin, too.
So okay. What have you got there,
I've got
Mike?
the Elysian Night Owl Pumpkin Ale.
Ooh,
Awesome.
I like that
you
one.
were able to find that in Manhattan?
Yes, I was.
Wow.
It is an American beer, so yes.
That's true. So they got the whole distribution thing.
They do, yes.
Happening.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually lied. Mike isn't in Manhattan.
No, I'm actually
he's
just
in Victoria.
literally I could be at your house in 10 minutes.
Yeah, literally. But that's all right. So those are our beers for today. Mike, before we get into the beers, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself first? What makes Mike Vardy tick?
I am a time management strategist, which kind of goes oddly considering I like my beer and I have a beer cellar at home. So I've got a wife and 2 kids. My daughter is right next door here trying to sleep. She'll probably yell at me in a second. So I read about productivity. My site is productivityist.com, or you can just go to mikevardy.com and you can learn more about me there.
Right. All right. Awesome. By the way, if anybody is watching this today, and probably nobody is, but if anybody was, you could also tweet us and get in on the conversation. We will respond to you here during the show. Shane, what's the Twitter account? You're good at that.
The Twitter account is The Crafty Boys. Twitter.com/The Crafty Boys.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to crack open my... I'm going to crack
the chocolate porter with my famous penis opener. There you are. All the way from Malaysia.
Great. Because apparently they have blue penile.
They have very decorative penises there. I mean, look at that.
Okay, so is the plural, is it penile?
Making love to that.
Penises?
I mean, come on. Who wouldn't? What?
Well, what's the plural of that? Would it be penises or penile?
No, I think it's penises.
Is it?
I think it's still,
okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Shane, now you have a story to tell about the Braineater ale. What's it named for?
Oh, yeah, well, I used to have an office downtown Vancouver that was down the hall from Braineater, and he's an artist in Vancouver. His name is Jim. He's very cool, and he throws the greatest parties because, when you have people over, and you have a little bit of a party, you might have a table of food, you might have some booze in the fridge. No, he didn't have that. He would have a bar, he would have a dance floor, he would have a place where there was a DJ with speakers taller than me, and those were his parties. And he probably has them like once, twice a year, 3 times a year. And actually, he has one coming up very soon, which I'm going to go to, I think. But yeah, so it's kind of funny. It's him. One of the people that founded Bomber Brewing lives above him, and yeah, that's just kind of how it works. It's kind of a little family there, and I'm sad I moved out, but at the same time, it was time to move on from that building.
Why would they name a pumpkin ale after him? What's the relevance there?
I just think it was an opening of the time of year.
Just basically goes down like convenience.
Yeah, we're gonna give a beer for you.
It's October. Yep, done.
Yep, October works.
You're lucky this wasn't summer. It would have been a wheat beer.
I was tweeting with Bomber a little bit this week, and they had told me
what was going on there?
Well, I tweeted that we were doing the episode this week, and we were having the Braineater pumpkin ale, and they corrected me that we were having the Braineater pumpkin ale. I missed the I part, and I made Braineater 2 words instead of 1.
They got to protect their brand. They got to protect their brand.
They got to protect their brand. And I was told that apparently Braineater did the artwork on the bottle, which is it's pretty nice. It's very Halloweeny.
That's the Devil Woman.
It's like Betty Boop got bit by a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got like the fangs and the horns and all that. She's probably pretty good in the sack, I would think. Anyway, I'm gonna try this and see what it's like.
Apparently good enough to sleep with a beer bottle, but.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit lighter than I was expecting, but you can really taste the pumpkin in there. It's really got a nice aroma to it. The head's nice and foamy. It's a good fall beer. It's got a nice spicy kick to it. Mike, how do you like your pumpkin?
I like the Elysian a lot. It's very pumpkin-y as well. A bit darker, a bit heavier. Yeah. A lot of cloves too, right? Like tons of cloves in this thing.
Right.
I really like it. It's funny. The beer store that I went to is really basically the Hillside Mall, close to the house. Opened up a whole new liquor store there, and they had a ton of pumpkin beers. They had the Schadenfreude. They had the Red Racer one. They had tons of them. And I keep coming back to Elysian. The reason I picked this one is because I am a night owl. I do my best work at night. So I couldn't help but not pick this one. And I've had it before, and I really quite like it. So it's unfortunate Elysian is now owned by, I think Coors owns them now. But
yes.
But they are not. They're only handling distribution, so they aren't touching the brewing process.
For now. We discussed this in an earlier podcast. At length, and we'll see how that one goes.
I mean, Elysian. The only reason I picked it up is because of the night owl thing. Normally, I would have probably gone with Phillips. Phillips hasn't made a pumpkin ale in a while. The local, they haven't made a pumpkin ale. Oh no, they've got the Crooketer Tooth and the Crooked Tooth. What am I talking about? Yes, I just couldn't find it. So there you go. I do like this one though quite a bit.
All right, and Dave and Shane are having Bomber's Chocolate. Tell me a little bit about it, guys, and what do you think?
I am liking it.
I'm dead on it, actually.
I actually had this one at Beer Fest.
We had it at Beer Fest. This was actually the first one that we had at the 2015 Beer Fest. And I remember really, really liking it.
It tastes like a dark chocolate bar. Like dark chocolate, not like a milk chocolate, but dark chocolate.
Yeah, it has sort of like a bit of an edge to it with the chocolatey flavor. A little bit more than you would find with, say, the Phillips Longboat.
Right.
Yeah, which we've done in an earlier podcast. So that's awesome. Okay, so it sounds like it's thumbs up all around for Bomber, Braineater, for their chocolate, and for Elysian's Night Owl.
Does yours smell like pumpkin? Your beer smell like pumpkin?
Yeah, it totally does. Yeah, mine is.
Yeah, and I totally taste the cloves in mine. You smell the chocolate?
I find chocolate beers, it's tough to... It has to be really chocolatey for the chocolate to come out.
Yeah, I mean, this one here is actually... I mean, it's really dark. Like, we're talking...
That's like Singularity, like Darth Vader dark.
Almost, yeah.
Have you guys seen, and just a sidebar, the new craze is blood orange beers?
We Did we do a blood orange beer?
probably
We did.
We did.
The brown label one. It's not Palmer, Bridge, right? The Bridge one, blood orange.
No, we
bitter?
didn't do the bridge one. We did a different one.
Spinnaker is. There's a lot of them. For some reason, orange beers. And it's funny. I was at a beer pub last year, and they were trying to do an orange IPA, and it just doesn't settle well. But a chocolate orange porter I had once, and it was phenomenal. And it was a cask, so it was very. I mean, it was a one-time only thing. But I think orange beers are the next big thing. You're seeing a lot more of them.
Wow. I would agree, actually, because I think that there's so many that that whole thing that we see with beers with the chocolate was really big. What, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
and then
coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee, and then 3 years later it was coffee and chocolate.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, this kind of stuff happens all the time, and I'm surprised actually that blood orange, of all the oranges out there, made it in. But,
Yeah. No, I mean I was at the cash register and there were 4 different blood orange beers.
Do you think it's because the blood orange just sounds really badass?
Probably. Probably.
Yeah.
It does sound like a blood orange bitter. Like,
yeah.
Or oaked. One was called the oaked blood orange, and I'm like, that sounds like that orange isn't just bloody, but it was beaten bloody by something oak.
I have a question. Is there any blood orange stuff coming out of Portland?
I haven't seen anything out of Portland. No,
I think there would be though. I mean, there's enough stuff coming out.
Rogue, I mean, the place that I see a lot of this stuff is when Rogue does a lot of their stuff, they do a lot of these amalgamations where they take like a barley wine and they mix it with like a stout or something like that. Like they tend to blend the beer types. You guys have had the Sriracha one, right? The Sriracha stout that Rogue did?
Yeah.
I mean, they do, I mean, if anything, they go beyond what we would normally do anywhere else. So they'll do like, theirs would be like a kumquat beer. Like it would be like the weird fruit that you would be like, why is that in there? And it would work, like a goji berry beer or something like that, or because it's like it's got antioxidants in it. Like, well, all right.
or a cucumber beer.
I could see that in the summer. We've seen watermelon beer before. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Well, we did a cucumber beer last week.
The Steamworks Killer Cucumber Ale.
Why did you do that so? Wouldn't that would be a better for a summer beer for sure?
Well, it definitely is a summer beer. Well, we had this.
Okay. You watched last week's episode to find out.
All right. Yeah. Spoiler. Yeah. Don't spoil it. Say, look back.
Oh, sorry. I was spoiled.
And figure out why they drank that.
The big reveal.
So, with it being Halloween in 2 days, I found an article online, and I'll send you guys the link. But essentially, what it is there is a new trend of pairing beers with candy.
Yeah.
Bridge Brewing out of Vancouver is actually having an event that is happening on October 30th to October 31st, where you can get upwards of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of their beers paired up with certain candies, and you can try them. You get like a little taster beer with the candy that goes along with it. For instance, they have the Brook Berliner Weiss paired with Rockets. The Ambleside Amber Ale is paired with Twizzlers. Their All Out Stout is paired with M&Ms. What do you guys think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, I think that especially if you got like the Reese's ones. I saw the Reese's peanut butter cup ones. I think it's awesome. I think if it's done well, I think you can pair beer with pretty much anything if it's done well.
I'm interested in the Jolly Rancher mix. Like the Hopalano IPA. I'm like, that might actually work. But then again, I haven't had that IPA.
What about you, Dave?
I don't know, man. I'm just not sure that I would go with it. But I'm never one for turning down trying out different food stuffs. I'm a glutton that way. So
right. All right, fair enough.
I think the M&Ms with the All Out Stout would be probably the easiest one to deal with because it's got the chocolate already in there, right?
Right.
Yeah. True.
I've had their Uganda Sippy Coffee Brown Ale before, and it says to put it with pair it with Tootsie Rolls, and I could see that. if you had like a Tootsie Roll and you were just kind of letting it, melt in your mouth, and then you take a swig of beer with that, I mean, I could totally see that working.
Not a fan of Tootsie Rolls. I can't even eat
No?
Tootsie Rolls. No.
What's your favorite Halloween candy then?
The two Halloween candies that I would throw out are those, and you'll know the other one, but Tootsie Rolls, and you know those ones that you got that were wrapped up in the ghost and like the orange and yellow wrapper that you weren't quite sure what they were.
Yeah.
Those things, they're gone. Like they would never make it.
This is not crossing my palate at all. Things?
I don't know what they.
You know what? I never even tried them.
Neither did I. They just look too suspect. Like I don't know what
this is where the glass is. This is where the needles are. The razor blades are in these.
Apple though. Yeah, I know what an apple is, but no, they look. It's just like somebody got like some Halloween wrapping paper and went, all right, let's throw some chewing tobacco inside this and see if we can pass it on.
Nice.
Hilarious. Also, this past week was the BC Beer Awards. Did anybody sort of pay attention to that at all?
Yeah, there was who won the. I saw who won the best beer. I can't remember who it was. It was.
Best in show was Brass Neck Brewery's One Trick Pony.
Right, which I had. I think I had 2 years ago at Hypoxia.
Right.
I think I had it 2 years ago there. Brass Neck's making some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys ever get? Shane, do you ever get to go over there? Because they're in Vancouver, right?
Yeah, I trip over them when I come home. Yeah, they're about 3 or 4 blocks away, and we actually stopped going there because they doubled the prices of their growlers.
Ooh, really?
Doubled? Most people in this area, they've got you have growlers that are maybe $12 somewhere in there, and you go there now, and some of their beers were, at least when I was there a few weeks ago, were in like the $20 range, and their cheapest one I think was $18. So I don't know. There's something about them that they changed something. I don't know what specifically, but
I was surprised to see. I mean, in the past you've seen a lot of like Driftwood Brewery from Victoria on here. Didn't see hardly any of it. I think a lot of Parallel 49 and Bridge Brewing. A lot of Bridge Brewing, which is fitting because I mean they've been doing. They're the ones doing the candy pairings, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I was actually kind of amazed that there was so few from the island here for the amount of breweries that we have on the island now. Yeah, I really only see Tofino.
Have you guys? Well, no. I think there was a couple others. I thought I saw one. I thought I saw a Russell. No, Russell's not May Island though. You're right. It's not.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. There's some Swans stuff here. I thought I saw Swans. Yeah, hold on.
Swans Legacy Ale.
Yeah, Swans.
And actually, there's Scotch Ale too.
Yeah, so they did. Steel and Oak's doing some great stuff, but one of the things have you guys tried? I know you guys did the Juxtapose, which is phenomenal.
Yes.
It's a phenomenal beer.
Yeah.
At least I think it is. But did you guys try the Bourbon Sour yet? Have you guys tried that at all? Any of you?
No.
No, I've been through a few sours in the past couple of months, but I haven't had that one.
Dave?
Well, we need to do a sour on the show.
Are you suggesting it, Mike? Is that a good one?
I haven't tried it yet, but I love sours. There's a place, speaking of Portland before, there is actually a beer bar in Portland that all they serve are sour beers.
Cool.
All they serve. It was. We went to a place called the Green Dragon, which is a really great beer bar on the northeast side, and then after that, like, let's go to the sour beer bar. I'm like, what's that? Like, all they serve is are sour beers. I'm like, that is amazing. Let's go there, and we went there, and yeah, just sours nonstop. You couldn't get anything that wasn't sour there, and they had some really sour beers there. So yeah, I would suggest if you've not tried. Have you guys tried sours before?
No, I don't think we've done a sour on this show yet.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing for sure, and I would start with that one. I mean, if the problem is if you start with an award winner and it's really good, then anything you have that's not as good, you will say, oh well, sours generally suck. That was the exception to the rule, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is start with bottom barrel and go from there.
No, start with yeah. You know what you got to do is go to Red Truck and say, hey, Red Truck, when you're like, put your barrel outside, like the dregs, let it sit there for 3 weeks, come back and get us, and we'll just scrape it out, and then that's what our sour will be. No, pick something in the middle.
Well, hey, I can just fall across the street and I'm in their parking lot, so I'll go tell them tomorrow.
You do a lot of falling and tripping, Shane.
I know, it's terrible.
Actually, you trip over a lot of breweries, actually.
I know.
I think that's a problem.
That's how my neighborhood has become.
It's like a seizure that you have.
There's actually a bus that go on the weekends goes around to all the breweries, and you can get on at Red Truck, and you can go to Bomber, you can go to Strange Fellows, you can go to, there's about 4 or 5 others. And, then they just pour you out at home.
I think that's something that we need to do, is we need to get over and do something like that. All of us.
I agree. Isn't there no bus like that in Victoria? I guess not.
No.
Victoria doesn't seem like the town for it.
No. No. We're just waiting for Uber to show up.
the heartbreak on your face, Mike.
No, it's not. The only bus that does that for me is the 22 that drops me off in front of my house and picks me up, and I have to make my way to a bus stop that says 22, and that's the closest I get.
I'm actually surprised there's no steel toed on here.
But steel toad's pretty new, though, right?
I was actually at Steel Toad a little while back, and speaking of sours, this is not a sour, but I'd had peated beer. Have you ever had peated beer?
Yeah, it's quite good too.
It's very good, and it tastes like dirt.
Well, Sorry,
smells like dirt. Does not taste like dirt. It smells like it.
I think that it's weird because when people are trying these different beers, like you guys have the Juxtapose, which has different types of hops, and you go to the Brett hops, which are a little bit different. They're totally different than what. Eventually, you make your way into these other, some people. I mean, I had mead about a year ago. Someone was like, "Oh, here's a bottle of mead, like not just a glass, but like a bottle of it." I'm like, "Really?" And I felt like Thor, like I'm just holding this bottle of mead, like, "Hi, Mjolnir, I am worthy." And it was good, but again, it's like I think any of those beers, if you have them regularly, even IPAs at this point, if I have an IPA like regularly, it kind of loses its zest. I'm now more of I think my go-to beer is the Driftwood Farmhand. Like it's just the Driftwood, the Farmhand, which is just like a nice saison, which is a flavorful beer but doesn't kick you in the butt nearly as much. And then Fat Tug is Driftwood is my favorite beer because it's just I like it. I've always really since they came on the scene, I've really enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah, we did Fat Tug on an earlier episode, and that was probably one of our favorite beers I think that we've done.
It's almost it's almost impossible to beat as an IPA.
Yeah.
The only one that used to be the staple is Red Racer. That used to be the one that everyone liked, and then Fat Tug. So they go back and forth.
Right. All right.
I want one now. I want one now. Give me a Fat Tug or give me death.
Well, you may have an opportunity to get some new kind of beers all in one package coming out soon. Well, it's actually out now in Vancouver and on Vancouver Island. Is the Parallel 49 and Central City have combined forces to create an advent calendar with beer. This is their second year doing it, and each brewery, so Parallel 49 has brewed 6 beers just for this pack. You can't get these beers anywhere else, and Central City has done the same thing. So there's 12 beers that have never been made before, that were made specifically for this pack, and will never be available in any other way. So if you want to try these beers, you have to get this. It's called Craft Crossing. It's their advent calendar, and it should be available throughout BC. If it isn't already there, it should be there now or soon.
I saw the Phillips ones in Victoria today. The Phillips Snowcase, they call it.
Yeah.
And I've seen I haven't seen them yet, but I know they're coming. You know, the European ones, the big box that has the handle. I've seen those. I got that one last year. I liked it, but I think that the fact they're doing 6 originals from each brewery this year. Is it 6 and 6, right?
6 and 6, yeah.
Yeah. Finally, because last year they didn't do that. I think they had a couple of collaborations that they did last year, but they didn't have anything that was. I'm really happy about that because last year was my second year doing the advent calendars, and because you want to do them every year, but you don't want to get the same beers every year. Like Phillips was a bit of a letdown last year because I'm like, oh look, it's Blue Buck. You know, like, what the hell, right? Like,
Well, and that's just it, right? I mean, I want to have something special. If I'm going to spend, I mean, it's a lot of money to spend on a case of 24.
yeah,
And if you're going to spend that amount of money, you expect to have something a little bit special, a surprise.
yep.
And just getting the run-of-the-mill stuff that you could buy in a six-pack. I mean,
Have you guys ever
why
done the
bother?
advent? Have you guys ever done the advent calendars yet?
I have not. Shane did last year, I
Hi, if
believe.
you want to go to my playlist on my YouTube channel, you'll see all 24 beers from last year as I drank them.
So, did you drink them? But here's the question: were you strong enough to drink them on the day that they were supposed to be opened?
I did. A bunch of the episodes, I drank a whole bunch, and then I had to skip
No, but
over the last.
you didn't go like, oh, day 3, Blue Buck, screw that, day 4. Like, you didn't do that.
No. I actually waited. Yeah. No, actually, you last year, I seem to recall, got about halfway through, and then drank the rest or something.
Yeah, I just said screw it. Because I was choked. I was like, this is bull. Why the hell am I looking? I don't want this anymore. I mean, and I didn't buy the European. So that was my second year of doing the advent calendars. I did the snow case 2 years in a row. I did the European one, or the North American. I guess technically I think it's the North American one. Because I can't remember what beers were in it. Some of them were not memorable at all. And then then I did the last year I did Central City and Parallel. So I'll probably just do the one this year. It'll probably be the one that you were talking about, Alan, because they need to up their game for this kind of stuff. There's also, I mean, I know we don't talk about, it's not a gin and whiskey stuff, but there's gin and bourbon advent calendars now too. So they've kind of done what beer people were doing, like breweries were doing, and are now making advent calendars for that stuff too, which is kind of neat as well if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up the Craft Crossing. Shane, I think you were going to pick it up as well. Dave, I think you should as well, because I think we're going to make it a part of our December podcast. All right?
I am all for that because
Can you write this off? Is that how that works?
I am.
Yes.
I don't know what
We're
you
writing
guys.
it off.
Well,
Canada.
You know, I'm a writer, so I'm like, all right, well, this is part of the fuel that's needed to make the tank go. So, can I expense this? My wife doesn't let me expense it, but I try every single time with the hopes that she'll eventually break. I'll probably get Craft Crossing, and that's about it this year.
Good. All right, so
I'm going to blog it the entire way through, so it'll be
excellent.
Cool.
All right, so Mike Vardy has an early morning tomorrow. So we're going to have a bit of an abbreviated episode tonight. We've been going for, I guess, about a little bit more than half an hour now. So we're just gonna say our farewells tonight. Did everybody enjoy their beer?
I did.
I did.
I'm still enjoying it.
You're still enjoying it?
I only had a little bit because I don't want to. I am medicated right now. I should be lying down.
Okay, so we're gonna come back next week, and things will be back to normal.
Yes, I
Shane-
won't be ill anymore.
Shane will be the moderator, not me. You don't have to look at my ugly mug as much. And we'll have a new beer. We don't know what. I think it's Dave's turn to pick. So Dave, pick a beer, probably a sour, and then we'll do that one next week. Okay. I'd like to thank Mike Vardy for joining in with us tonight and helping us out when we were down a couple of guys. And Mike, how can people contact you again with regards to productivity?
Well, it's odd because I'm a guy who drinks beer, and then I'm like, okay, now it's time to start thinking about doing stuff. Productivityist.com is the website, so the word productivity, then ist.com, or you can just go to mikevardy.com, and I'm there. And I'm also on Twitter at MikeVardy.
Excellent. Okay, and you can contact us on Twitter, or you can go to our website, www.craftyboys.ca, and if you send us a message, an email, or tweet a twat or whatever, we'll respond to you.
Wow.
Tweet a twat. Yep.
And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Mike Vardy because I really enjoyed his How I Focus Better newsletter. Keep them coming, sir. They're very good.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bomber Brewing, for the Braineater pumpkin ale and for the chocolate.
Yeah. And I actually had a bottle on my desk, and I think Allison stole it. So I was like,
all right. Okay, we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.